YouTube, what is happening? It's Tristan here again. It's been a while since I made a video. I've been having some problems with my laptop, but that's okay because as you can see, the sound is much better in this video because I'm using a different computer. So it's a better situation anyway. But yeah, I think I'm going to finally make that MBTI video about my family, but I want to kind of combine it into a response video to I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your username. Bradnidum, Brandydum, Birdle. I'm just going to call you Brad Nizzle because that's easier for me to say. And I hope you're not offended. No, I will not marry you. Not because I don't want to, but because it's against my religious faith. Just kidding, I made that up. But in all seriousness, I liked your video because it sort of highlighted something that I've noticed in my life and a lot of other INFP videos on YouTube, which is that there seems to be like a sort of kind of close affinity between INT and INF types, which I mean, like at first glance, I don't think you would necessarily predict. There seems to be a lot of sort of contrast and conflict between T and F types, on paper at least, but in practice, it doesn't seem to turn out that way. So I just wanted to kind of tell my story. So I'm an INFP, but sorry about that. I'll have to make sure the lighting doesn't get all effed up. I'm an INFP. I'm also drinking Diet Mountain Dew. Let me tell you something before I go on this rant about Myers-Briggs. Pop is delicious. Or soda, or Coke, or wherever you call it. Whatever you call it in your neck of the woods. Up here in the upper Midwest, where it is 159 degrees and sweltering humidity, because it's July, we call it pop. So you're just going to have to bear with that. If you call it soda or soft drink or fizzy shit, I don't know, whatever you call it, go ahead. If you call it fizzy shit, that's badass. So keep doing that. But whatever you call it, it's delicious, right? It's amazing. And I don't give a fuck who says that pop is bad. You know, regular or diet, whatever you gotta do. I personally go for diet because I'm, you know, like, all about health and stuff. But you know what? If you want to drink all that sugary pop, I don't fucking care. Do it, man, because this shit is delicious. There is nothing like a glass of cold, delicious beverage on a hot fucking afternoon. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. I am an INFP. However, I have you mentioned Brad Nizzle. You mentioned that you had dated several INFPs. And it's interesting because I have dated several INTJs or Ps. I don't really know. Because I didn't figure out what Myers-Briggs was until a few months ago, and so it's only in retrospect that I'm looking back on these past relationships and trying to figure out, you know, who was what type and stuff. But I've definitely dated at least one INTP. Probably another one was an INTJ. Most serious relationship I've had she was probably ENFJ though. But anyway, I have dated INTx types before, if you want to call it that. And I have a lot of close friends who are INT types. My best friend, my best friend from, I don't know, I have a lot of different best friends, but my best friend from California, we'll call him that, he's not dead, as far as I know. He is an INTP, and we've had many discussions about Myers-Briggs tests and how we're different. We actually were roommates for a long time out there, so I think we both sort of found that we kind of bled into each other's personality types, which is fascinating. It's really fascinating. But one of the things that he and I have in common is that we're both sort of creative thinkers. We're creative thinkers in different ways. He is much more of a sort of linear mathematic. He's able to sort of divide. He's able to put it in the Kiersey temperament sorters terminology. He's an architect. He's able to sort of think about things in a structural context and think of creative ways of reconstructing them, basically. And he's extremely logical. He's impeccably logical. Like many INTPs, is very impatient with people who he sees as being illogical. And so it's always like a challenge to talk to him, but it's always kind of like a fun challenge. And then, you know, I would hope that he appreciates my sort of emotionally creative side. And I'm usually pretty emotionally upfront with him. I didn't used to be, but I think I'm getting much, much better now. So yeah, we're really close, and I really like talking to him. It's always really, I feel stimulated in a way when I'm talking to him or other INTPs that I don't feel stimulated when I'm talking to, you know, other less creative thinking types, I guess, if that makes sense. My other best friend, my high school best friend, is probably also an INTP. I don't know. I don't think he's ever taken a personality test, and he probably never will. He's one of those people who's just very cynical about personality typing and psychology in general. But he's probably an INTP, and he in very much the same way, he's an engineer by trade, and so he's very much kind of a linear thinker who is able to sort of creatively solve problems, and that's really, you know, appealing to me. It's not something I'm necessarily very good at, but that creativity, that mental creativity, is something that I think is really cool. My dad is probably also an INTP. Excuse me. Yeah, all that good stuff. My dad is probably also an INTP. He has Asperger's syndrome, so pretty much that automatically means he's going to be an INT something. He has like no emotional awareness whatsoever, but he's incredibly intelligent. He's the most skilled puzzle solver of like any person I've ever met. Every single Clue game that we played as a family when I was a kid, my dad had to like throw in the towel and pretend that he didn't know the answer every single game, because otherwise, excuse me, if he was being honest, he would have won every single game after like 3 turns. That's how quickly he figures a game of Clue out. He's just a genius. I don't know how he does it. And like, there's no puzzle he can't solve. Sudoku, whatever, he'll figure it out. He's just brilliant. And very much like, you know, the 2 friends I mentioned, he's a creative thinker, and I really respect and admire that. Now, J. Brad, I know you said you were INTJ. I think my mother might be INTJ, although I don't know. When I had her take an MBTI test, she didn't like it, I guess is the short version of the story. She didn't take it very seriously. I think she thought it was kind of BS, which a lot of people do, as I mentioned with my friend. Well, I won't use his name. But, yeah, it's just kind of, some people, it doesn't work for them, I guess. So she scored as an INTJ, or no, she scored as an ISFJ, but she doesn't strike me as an SJ type. She's too innovative a thinker to be, I don't know, I just see SJ types as being sort of very much about towing the party line, and that's not her deal at all. So I think she's probably an INTJ. And so there you go. There's another INT in the family, you know, and so I grew up around them, and I admire their what's the word I'm looking for? I admire their mental sharpness. It's always a challenge and a thrill to have a conversation with an NT type, particularly INT types. they're very clinical and scientific, and that can sometimes be it can feel tedious for an INFP who's not particularly interested in details and is more interested in talking about the universe, man, and like creative systems and like feelings and like colors, dude. Man, I love that shit. I love talking about colors and stuff. But there is some overlap between the world of the sort of cosmic world of philosophical ideas that INFPs are often interested in, and the physical universe that INTPs are so skilled at imagining or studying. So that's something that is always kind of fun to talk about, I guess. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the relationship between INFPs and INTPs or Js, INTJs as well. Please feel free to comment. This video really kind of applies to a lot of different videos. Like what I mean is, I could have done this as a response to many people's different videos, because I know I'm not the only INFP on YouTube who has openly said that they really enjoy talking to INTx types. Like I know Kendra did a video where she talks about knowing a lot of NT types and really enjoying them. It's like a fun challenge to interact with NTs. And like I say, I'm in kind of my infancy in learning about MBTI. But one of the first things that I'm noticing about my sort of close friend circle and my family is that there's a lot of NT going on, and I like it that way. I like NT people. So let me just make sure that I covered everything. Oh yeah, I so covered everything. Hey, I have a music recommendation for all of y'all. Go out, and I don't care what kind of music you listen to, because believe it or not, I listen to fucking everything. I listen to country music, I listen to classical music, I listen to old school hip hop, I listen to modern indie, I listen to some classic rock when I can tolerate it. I listen to whatever the fuck I feel like listening to. So whatever your music taste is, I don't care, it doesn't matter. Go out and listen to Kid A by Radiohead. Most of you guys, if you're cool and have good taste in music, have probably already heard it. But if you haven't, go listen to fucking Kid A, because it's an incredible album. It's incredible. It's amazing. So good. No, I'm not being paid to say this. Mountain Dew. It's the good stuff.